are you today? My name's Rosemary Manners and I'm Australia's leading natural and traditional pharmacist. So that means I love integrative health. And this is my health show. And my health show is all about creating health cheat sheets. So there are different ways where you can cheat your health and get to an easier place easily and quickly. So we love that thought of being healthier and being able to do it without making a big impact on our lives and changing the way that we do things. So I'd just like to say hello everybody out there. Hi Stuart. Hi Rosalie. It's great to see you. So today, the theme of the talk today is, are your thoughts killing you? And also, as part of the thought, I want to introduce 4 steps to get rid of these worry thoughts or to get rid of the stress that creates disease. So you might ask, and it would be a very good question, is why is an integrative pharmacist talking about worry thoughts or the thought of killing yourself with thoughts? That sounds very serious. And it is serious. Like, I've got to Wednesday. So it's not only halfway through the week. And I've had 3 very serious conversations with people that have come into the pharmacy and seek my advice or seek a bit of a conversation about health, is where they believe their thoughts are generating disease. And they believe their thoughts that are generating disease are actually heading them towards being killed, like death. And so that's a very serious conversation. And you can't take that lightly. And as I've been thinking about it, well, we can always do with more skills. Every one of us can do with more skills in that sort of area. So that's what we're talking about today, is 4 steps to get rid of your worry thoughts. And we want to consider is how much of our diseases or how much of our health is affected by our thoughts. So I obviously won't use people's names, but I'll just sort of introduce you to a few of my clients so that you can get the sort of idea, and you might find friends or people that you know, or even yourself, where you can reflect is the thoughts that in your mind and how they affect your disease or your state of health. So Jack I've known for a little while, and his eyesight is his major concern. So he's a busy executive, he's flying in and out of the country, and he's got a rare autoimmune disease. But the autoimmune disease is fired up by stress or fired up by the thoughts that he puts in his mind. Now, obviously we'll treat an autoimmune disease, but his concern, or the concern that we were discussing with Jack, is how much of that disease is brought on by stress. And is there an answer to this stress, or is there something that we can put in place so we can take a great leap away from that health disease? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that great leap to take us away from disease. And that great leap could have something to do with our thoughts. So that's what we want to investigate. I had a very interesting conversation with Julie. So Julie came into the pharmacy, and one of her children is quite sick, and so she spends a lot of time worrying about her child. But as part of the conversation, she mentioned that this year she's had treatment for breast cancer, and that sort of came up as a secondary thing. And I sort of said, well, what's this? What's happening? Explain it to me. And she said, well, it's quite obvious. It's brought on by stress. It's brought on by the thoughts that are in my mind. And so it was really interesting and really confronting, is all the things that we talk about and all the health measures we take and put in place, but are we really treating our minds, or are we really sort of taking into consideration the thoughts that we put in our minds and the thoughts that we leave in our mind? My third example, I said we had 3 in 1 week, we're only up to Wednesday, is Jenny came in, and Jenny's only 40. She's not very old. And we had this discussion, is her brain function's not as good as it was. She forgets things and she leaves things behind. She'll come back and the oven's on or the fire's on, and she was sure that she turned it off. And it's coming to a stage where she's really concerned about cognitive decline. And she was asking me, is it is it what's happening in my mind, or is it something that I need to go and get my brain under an MRI, and now having a proper analysis and proper investigations into that, and what effect can the mind have on it, and what effect can my thoughts have on a disease process. So they're three very serious illnesses. It's an autoimmune disease, there's cancer, and what potentially could be Alzheimer's disease. And the three questions posed to me this week is, are my thoughts causing my disease? Are my thoughts killing me? And it's definitely worth looking at some skills and coming up with 4 steps to get rid of these worry thoughts, because we know those worry thoughts are not helping us. And these are 4 people that they don't have a mental health picture. Like, I haven't even mentioned people that have a mental health diagnosis, because they're really fired up by worry thoughts. But these are a different type of disease, and how much of this disease is involved, does worry thoughts get involved in it? So your next question is, what is worry thoughts? Where can they come from? Like, I know myself, I could be driving to work, and we all do it. We all have it. I could be driving to work and I feel so great. And I'd just like to welcome everybody else that's just come in, and I can see Kat there and Maggie there and Komang, and I'd just like to welcome you all here. So today we're talking about, are your thoughts killing you? And I'm going to teach you 4 steps to get rid of those worry thoughts. So where do they come from? We're talking about, and I'm using myself as an example. I'm driving to work. I'm feeling so good. I feel the warmth and the love and the compassion in my body, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be the day. And then 2 minutes later, I'm at the traffic lights, and I go back to observe what my mind is thinking about now. And it's worrying about what the children are doing, what they're having for lunch. And then I think of the pharmacy, and I'm wondering how the team's going at the pharmacy. So what I'm doing is I'm jumping from something really that's vital and energetic and touching in with myself, and then I'm jumping into these worry thoughts. And then I jump out of the worry thoughts and I change my mind to something else. And then later on the day, I see myself into those same worry thoughts. So when you think about worry thoughts, are they helpful? Are they limiting? Possibly yes. And the funniest thing, after I've started, because as part of this, I've been practicing as I've been going this week, and part of this process is working out that most of the things that we worry about, and I'd go up to say 95% of the things that we worry about, the things that we stress about, are things we have no control whatsoever to change. Like, we can't do anything about them. Even if we spent 24/7 worrying about it, the outcome would be no different. So it's like our brain is designed to trip us up, and it's up to us to take action, to work out what we can do to change things. And everybody's a bit different. Everybody has a different amount of worry thoughts, a different amount of stress, a different amount of how they think and in what way they think. But the thing is, we all have it. We can all identify with it. And look, we might not have a diagnosed disease that we can look back and say, well, that's definitely coming from worry thoughts, or that's definitely coming from stress, or part of my job, or how I tend to live my life. But we can all identify it. We've all had negative thoughts. We've all had worry thoughts, and we could all do with more skills in that area. And the thing is, getting rid of worry thoughts, it's a skill, and we can all learn it, but it takes practice, and it's coming out with a strategy and just practicing. But the first step to ask ourselves is, who's driving the bus? Like, the only person that can change this, or change your mind, or help you take the big leap forward with your health, is going to be yourself. And it's sort of coming around with strategies to help yourself. Now, my favorite strategy is meditation, but meditation is just not always acceptable for everybody. So maybe that's not an answer for everybody, and it's not an answer all the time, because my worry thoughts might come at a time, like I'm driving in traffic. I can't say, well, just hold on traffic, I'm going to have a bit of a meditation now. So it's not always useful at every particular moment in time. So yes, meditation is an answer, but I just want to share with you my 4 steps and what I do and what I've read about and how I've put this together as a process to get rid of my worry thoughts. So I've got a name for it, and it's DIYT. And you've probably already guessed what it stands for. So it's do it yourself thoughts. So in Australia, DIYs are big. And what we do is we go down to Bunnings, we buy the ingredients, we want to fix something. We want to fix something about our house. So we go down to Bunnings, we get the ingredients, we ask the man at Bunnings, or we come back and we YouTube it and we fix something. So why can't we do the same with our minds? So we can DIY our thoughts. And that's what I'd like to teach you today, a 4-step process to do it yourself with your thoughts. And just in case you're watching this from overseas, because I have noticed I've got a few watchers from overseas, and I really welcome you on this program, but I better explain to you what Bunnings is. So Bunnings in Australia is our hardware shop. It's like a huge, big super centre of hardware stuff. And so it's where if we want to fix something down in the house, we go down to Bunnings, which is going down to our hardware shop. Just so you understand that word Bunnings, because it's sort of it's an Australian word. Okay, so we're off to Bunnings now. That's what we do when we want to fix the house. Is we go down to Bunnings, get the ingredients, and come back. So we're going to segue back to our brains, because we're going to do it ourselves with our brains. So it's DIYT, do it yourself thoughts. So I'm going to sort of use those letters DIYT so that you can really remember the 4 steps. So the first step is D. And that's the do, the take action to stop and notice your thoughts, because you can't do anything unless you notice it. And it's really interesting when you start thinking about what you're thinking about. And it's really interesting working out how often you think about positive things, how often you think about negative things, how often during the day you're anxious, how often during the day you're stressed. So start watching your mind. That's the D, the do. You can't change something if you don't know what's happening. So rather than sort of just letting your thoughts go, just notice what's happening. Notice what those thoughts are. Notice which thoughts are killing you, which thoughts are surviving you, if that's the opposite, which thoughts are helping, which thoughts are hindering, which thoughts that you've got in your mind that might not be helping you, that you have you're worrying about something where you have no ability to change, and whether those thoughts are helpful or whether those thoughts are not helpful. So being able to notice and stop and notice, that's the D. So we're just going through the different acronyms, the 4 steps to get rid of your worry thoughts, and it's DIYT, do it yourself thoughts, and the D we've decided is all about taking action, the do word. Okay, so the next letter is I. So that's it. I'm going to let go of it. So what's it? So I've observed my thoughts, and I've sort of worked out there's some worry thoughts. So I might be worried about my children, or what they're having for lunch, or what my team's doing at the pharmacy. So me worrying about my children for lunch, they're up at school. There's nothing I can do during the day to make sure they eat their lunch. Why am I worrying about that? There's nothing I can do to help my team at the pharmacy if I'm not there. Like really? I don't need those thoughts. They're not helping me. There's nothing I can do if I'm worrying about my parents. Like worrying about them's not going to make them better or healthier or whatever's happening. Like those thoughts are not helping me, and they're probably limiting me or limiting me in my ability to move forward. So once I've isolated them, I want to let them go. So I want to shift my focus away from those worry thoughts and focus on something else. So it's interesting that during this week where I've been devising this program, I noticed that I'm worried about something. I'm worrying about something about the children. And as I noticed that thought, I think, well, I can't change it. I can't do anything about it at this particular moment. These thoughts are not helping me, they're not making me healthier, they're actually heading me through the disease, they're not great to have, so maybe I don't need them, and so I'll let them go. Let them go and refocus my mind on something else. I might refocus my mind on something within me, or something around me, or something in my immediate space. Okay, so we've done DI, so you know what the next bit is. It's why, and why stands for yourself. So it's coming back to yourself. So I want to open my focus, and I want to feel deeply for as long as I can. So I want to feel within me, feel what the essence is to be Rosemary. Who am I? What am I? Who am I? What do I stand for? I want to move away from those thoughts that are not helping me back to myself. So I often visualize, like, there's lots of different ways to do this, and no, there's no right or wrong idea. You'll have your own way of doing it, but I often like to visualize a bright light within me, and that bright light is full of love and compassion. So I get this bright light, it forms a big bubble within me. I can expand it and make it as big as I want, but it brings me back to the essence of me, the essence of the love, the compassion, my heart strength. I often try and take the energy out of my head and physically imagine it going into my heart. And so, because quite often you'll find that you spend a lot of the time in your heart, in your head, and not with your heart. So I try and take that energy out of my head and put it in my heart. I come up with little thoughts and little ideas around love and compassion and who I'd like to share it with. So I'm bringing my thoughts back to myself. And what I also like to do is I love to think about gratitude. So what am I grateful for? And this is a really powerful emotion, gratefulness, and it's really excellent emotion to change the focus from something you don't want to something that's really feels healing inside you. So it might be something, and often I just challenge myself and thinking, well, what am I grateful for? Am I grateful for a particular food or somebody I've met? Or am I really sort of grateful for something that's happening with my team at work? Or am I grateful about something to do with me and something I've done or something I looked at or something I've achieved? And, you know, it's quite fun if you're at traffic lights or driving and challenge yourself just to see if you could think of 3 things you're grateful for in each particular area. So I'll sit there and think, well, what are 3 things I'm grateful for my life about and in my life? And then when I've sort of got that sort of pictures of that in my mind, I might think of 3 things I'm grateful for at work, like something to do with my team or something I've achieved or some great breakthrough we've had. And then I'll come back to myself, and I'll always finish with myself and think of 3 things that I'm grateful for about myself. It might be just that I'm doing this gratefulness practice. It might be something else I've achieved or something else that's specific about myself that I'd like to be grateful for. And this is such a powerful practice, and I'd encourage you to do it every day anyway. It's very easy. You don't need any ingredients for it. You just need your mind. And I can guarantee that if you do this every day, it will make you into a happier person. The scientists have done it. The scientists have proven it. It really makes a huge difference. Okay, so we're just talking about yourself, do it yourself, DIYT, and it's about changing your thought patterns and the 4 steps to changing those worry thoughts. Another little hint I'll give you when you're coming back to yourself is another really powerful thing. Is if your worry thoughts are related to a person, it's a fantastic skill to learn is forgiveness. And again, it's a skill. So don't start trying to forgive your arch enemy at the traffic lights. Start off with something really little if you want to start off with forgiveness. So maybe start off with somebody that bipped you in the traffic and you don't even know who they are. Well, start by forgiving them. Or forgive your mother who told you that pink doesn't suit you, or something little, because it's a skill like anything else, and it can be quite daunting to try with something really big. So it's a bit like sort of starting to learn mathematics and starting off with calculus, or deciding to be a chef and starting off trying to cook a croquembouche, where perhaps we should be starting off with simple arithmetic, or we should be starting off with toast. So with forgiveness, it is a big thing. I can guarantee it will calm your thoughts quicker than anything else. But forgiveness is a skill. So just practice it, see how you go with forgiveness. But it can be very powerful in this instant where you're getting rid of your worry thoughts. And this is about coming back to yourself and centering yourself. So the 3 skills we've got with coming back and centering ourselves is filling your body with love and compassion, exploring gratefulness, and just seeing if you could play with forgiveness and see what difference it makes. But ultimately, we're coming back and focusing on ourselves. So we've had 3 letters so far, 3 steps on the way to 4 steps for getting rid of your worry thoughts. So the first step was D, to do it. The second letter was I, it, to let go of it, let go of those worry thoughts. The third step was yourself. So coming back and focusing on yourself and using different techniques to focus on what's really happening within you. So we're up to the 4th step now. So the 4 steps is thoughts. And this is the really cool thing. And it works every time. It might not work straight away, but it will work. Because behind every worry thought, and I don't know if you know this, it's a bit of a secret, but behind every worry thought is inspiration. So if you take action, you let go of the worry thoughts, focus back on yourself, then those thoughts, the inspirations behind it, is where you find it. You get this idea. So if you sit within yourself, you have some curiosity, and just sort of sit there, and the inspiration will come, and new positive things will start to appear in your mind and in your life. And those thoughts would never have appeared if you had kept those worry thoughts and hung on to those worry thoughts and sort of thought those worry thoughts were part of you. They wouldn't be there, those inspirations. So it's really cool. Like, these worry thoughts can actually help us. They can actually be a positive things, because it's behind the worry thoughts that you'll find your inspiration. And how does that feel? It just feels so fantastic. It feels so amazing to have new inspirations, that you can move forward in your life in great big leaps. So I'm just going to go through it. 4 steps. Because we don't want our thoughts to kill us. We don't want our thoughts to lead to disease. And these 4 steps, it's a skill like anything else. It'll need practice. I've been practicing all week. Actually, I've probably been practicing all month with these 4 steps. And already I can feel completely a bit lighter and being able to come up with more clearer thoughts and moving forwards in leaps and bounds. So it's really fun. And it's a great thing to do. And the thing is, you can do it. You don't need anything for it. There's no ingredients. You don't actually have to go to Bunnings for this one. You can DIY your own thoughts without going to Bunnings. So the 4 steps is DIYT. So it's do it yourself with your thoughts. The first one, we're going to remember these as we go, is D. Do. Take action. Start looking. Start noticing. Knowing. Start recognizing. And this is probably 50% of the way. 50% of the way is recognizing when you have worry thoughts. Recognizing when you don't. Recognizing that they're not helping you. All this, that's about 50% of the first step. So do that. Work out where your worry thoughts are and let them go. Step number 2, let them go. Let it go. Let the worry thoughts go, and shifting your focus away from them. Y is all about yourself, coming back to yourself, using techniques to look more deeply within yourself. And we talked about the techniques of love and compassion and gratefulness and forgiveness. Now, you don't have to do them all at once. Just choose one. Practice 1 for a while. Practice 2 for a while. But it's not that you have to do them all in order. Just finding ways and finding techniques to focus back on yourself. And then the fourth step is the thoughts that come behind, the thoughts that are hiding behind those worries. And that's where the curiosity, show some curiosity, explore that mind, and you'll find inspiration. You'll find great jumps and leaps in your body when your mind isn't always focused on those worry thoughts. Oh, goodness, how would that be? I think you really wouldn't recognize yourself. So I'm hoping this is going to be a really amazing thing. Be kind to yourself. Like, this is all about practice. You don't go down to do DIY projects without sort of learning along the way. So be kind to yourself and really sort of explore. Use it as an exploration, a learning experience. The more you learn, the more leaps you'll take with your life. And the more you'll stop those thoughts, those thoughts heading you towards disease. Because the question we're answering, are your thoughts killing you? And I want you to say to me, no, I've been working on my thoughts. They're not killing me. I'm not going to get any diseases. I'm not going to push my body towards a disease state through worrying or through these worry thoughts. So that's what I want to hear from you, and that's what I'd like you to come back. So I hope my 4 steps have been very helpful. It's DIYT, just so you exactly know what the acronyms are, and it's do it yourself with your thoughts. And so this has been my health program for today, Health Cheat Sheets. I'll be back again next Wednesday at 12 o'clock with another cheat for your health. And I really look forward to you getting some feedback from you guys. I can see there's a lot of you listening to me today, so that's a really good sign, and I love it that you listen to me. And I'd really love some feedback to how it's going. Like, this is a really interesting topic, and it's a topic that I talk about quite a lot in conversations I have with people. Like, what are your thoughts? How are you going? Who's in there? Who's looking out? What's happening? So it's a really fun topic, and it's a topic that's not always talked about. You don't go and have a cup of tea with your friends and saying, well, really, how are you going with your worry thoughts today? So I'd love to have conversations about these sorts of things, because they're health things that you're not always talking to other people about. So enjoy your practice, your DIYT, and I hope it goes really well. Give me some feedback. I'd love to know how you go when you go out there and practicing. And don't think that there's any of you that don't need to practice, because we all get worried about something at some time in some day. So we might be not in a disease state from it, but we can always practice. We can always head ourselves closer to health every week. So I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. It's been great talking to you.